Yo, 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 what's up, heavy metal fans? Back with a review, and a very damn good review, a very damn good album. God Dethroned is back. The last time we'd heard from them was 2010 with Under the Sign of the Iron Cross. The second of what I guess has now become a trilogy about World War I, different battlefronts, different campaigns. The first one being Passchendaele, or about the Battle of Passchendaele. So I'm not sure if that's supposed to be from the British, and then you go to the Iron Cross Germans, and then this one I think more has to do with the over in Russia, the Russian Revolution and whatnot. But yeah, so all of this music in the last three albums, including this one right now, which I'm going to review, is dealing with historical, at least inspiration from World War I. And the album is titled The World Ablaze. And it is excellent, to say the least. It's 10 tracks. I'm not sure if there are any kind of a bonus special edition version. But 10 at least with the release that I've got. Clocks in about, looks like just under 41 and a half minutes, so that's a good average time, 4 minutes or so. If I were to sum it up in a sentence, I would basically say it's like a blackened bolt thrower, with that being the band Bolt Thrower. Blackened bolt thrower, cranked up to 11. I think that would be the best way to describe this album. It's got that, it's not exactly like Bolt Thrower, but it does have a similar kind of feel to it that if you were a fan of Bolt Thrower, you'd kind of be able to dig right into this album and be right at home. It's got, like it says, blackened because it's got a more of a harshness, a little bit of black metal influence, but not like Norwegian black metal. Just the raspiness of the vocals, some of the riffing and whatnot. So yeah, blackened, I guess you could say. Blackened death metal. It's awesome. It's an awesome, solid album, beginning to end. If you thought this album was gonna suck, you're crazy. Throughout their catalog, they've got some that are better, some albums that are better than others. There's a few that I'm not a big fan of, but this one is definitely on par with their best. And it's you get the blistering, blast beat, riffing. You get a lot of tempo changes, some really good I hate to call them breakdowns, because breakdowns kind of got a bad name from the whole deathcore scene, but where they're slowed down, they're more kind of chugging or kind of slower riffing, up with power chords, and it's just trying to kick ass, sound heavy as hell and catchy at the same time. And then you got some passages that are just at breakneck speed, and they mix it up really well, so that these, the songs are interesting. They've got a lot of memorable parts to them, and the solos are good. Solos are solid. Nothing mind blowing, but they fit the songs fine. They're creative enough, and actually the outro solo, I guess it would be called outro solo, on the last track, which is the 11th Hour, is really good. It's kind of it's a drawn out kind of finale type solo that that finishes off the album in good style and is well done. It's tasteful. So yeah, I would say that it's good. The first track, A Call to Arms, is more of kind of an intro. There's some, I don't know if it's voice recording playing along with this music, and I couldn't really make out what was being said. It may be like an old recording from some old military footage or something, or I'm not sure exactly. The first full length, traditional song, Annihilation Crusade, which they also put out a music video for, is just badass. It's got, like I said, it's almost got it starts out, kind of mid-paced, just kind of just pummeling, and then you get some riffs, is more of those kind of single note tremolo type shredded riffs. It sound more like, give them more of like a black metal feel to it, more of a ominous kind of mood, and then a section where it's more just kind of headbanging, kind of more like the breakdown stuff, and then you get back to the more the faster, blasts and whatnot. The World Ablaze is the same way. It's got this similar kind of makeup to it. It's got the heavier stuff, interspersed with the more slowed down. Like I said, there's a lot of tempo changes in the songs, which is good because it adds, like I said, it adds variety. It builds tension. Tension goes up, tension goes down. So it really works well. On the Wrong Side of the Wire is kind of it's got more of a catchy riff to it. That's kind of more, it's instantly memorable kind of riff to the opening of the song. So it's kind of more, like I said, it's a little bit more of a catchy type song. But yeah, overall, I don't have to really, I'm not, like I said, I'm not familiar with the exact story that they're dealing with. I know there's one, I think it's Escape Across the Ice. The White Army, I think, is dealing with the Bolshevik Revolution, or Russian Revolution, and maybe it's the Tsar's forces, fighting against them as they're trying to take, they're trying to overthrow the Tsar and his reign in Russia. That's what kind of, when listening to it, I kind of got a better idea. But I'm not like a World War I buff or World War II buff, really. So I would be not the person to get the information from as far as what all of the songs are about. But I imagine if you wiki or look up some historical sites, you can get a good idea. The Passchendaele album, I read a little bit about that. That was you want to talk about male privilege. Read about that battle and tell me what kind of privilege those men had, like, knee deep in mud and mustard gas and just hell, just basically just hell on earth. People just, dying and just miserable, horrible deaths, dying like dogs out in this, at this, location. And just, it's kind of just makes you wonder, why the hell did this war have to start? And it was over an assassination, the monarchy or the Habsburgs or whatever. Somebody got murdered through an assassination plot, and then the war to end all wars. It's just insanity how war is. Anyway. Yeah, definitely recommended. If you're a God Dethroned fan, you're not even going to need to hesitate to pick up this album. I got into God Dethroned maybe 10 years ago or so I wasn't aware of them early, when they first started out in the 90s. But I'm glad I found them out. I just, they're from the Netherlands, or, a Dutch band, so not as well known, I guess, as some of the more, prominent death metal bands of the 90s, the Morbid Angels and whatnot, but definitely high caliber. As good as when you're just getting a pure death metal style with some, kind of more harsh black metal kind of overtones to it, which they actually had a lot more of in some of the older stuff. And this one, it's more of just kind of adds that kind of harshness and that, kind of grimness, which is great for, dealing with content like World War and bloody battles and all that stuff. Because, it's grim. There's no better style of music to deal with the concept of war and the horrors of war, like I said, heavy metal music. Like I said, any other style, it just falls short, but you get bands, like Bolt Thrower, for instance, like I mentioned, that are just, that's basically what they focus on completely, is battle and honor and, and pride and valor and these types of things. So, yeah, it would basically be just like Bolt Thrower, the only kind of downside of Bolt Thrower is that their rhythm section is kind of, it's there to keep up the keep the cadence going and that kind of that feel, but it's not very let's say imaginative or overly creative or experimental, and the drumming, I say, on this is a lot better than the average Bolt Thrower album. So that's why it kind of adds to it, makes it just like a more enhanced type of sound. That's just, like I said, listening to these songs, it's and some of the riffing, especially on the Wrong Side of the Wire, which has that kind of catchy riff, that definitely could sound almost like a newer Bolt Thrower song in spirit. But maybe they're inspired by Bolt Thrower because Bolt Thrower came out before them, so maybe that was part of it. And I'm sure these bands all kind of inspire one another, but I'm not saying it's like a Bolt Thrower copycat or something. That's not the case at all. It's got its own identity, and God Dethroned has been around a long time, so it's not like they just aren't just coming to the scene and capitalizing on somebody else's style. But that's just it just almost seems it's kind of that same vein, and probably a lot because it has to do with the war content. Like I said, Bolt Thrower covers that quite a bit. So yeah, God Dethroned, The World Ablaze. Got a couple, like I said, Annihilation Crusade and The World Ablaze both have videos up. I'm not sure if they're on Nuclear Blast or not, so you can check those out, because obviously they're trying to advertise those songs. Both of those songs are awesome. So even if you just want to go to YouTube and check those two out, you will not be sorry. They're heavy as hell. Friggin' just all metal. Don't really need to say much more. This is just a must-have for those that like the harsher kind of death metal. So check it out, support the band, buy a copy, get some. I mean, I'm sure they've got some. The logo looks pretty cool. It's like a some photograph or something taken from, or at least the artwork based on looks like some trenches. Guys marching down through these trenches along with some huge bomb explosion in the foreground. So yeah, buy a shirt, buy the copy of the album. I'm not sure if they're going to tour over in the US, but go and check them out live. I'm sure they put on a great show. And I'll be back with another review shortly. I'm going to probably do the review of Hate's newest album, which is an interesting one as well. I've listened to about half of it so far, and it's definitely different from the last few albums, and in a good way. It's more experimental in certain ways, but not so out of whack that it makes it seem like a kind of a stranger to the catalog of their music. So yeah, I hope you enjoy the new God Dethroned album. I know I have it on my iPod in the car, and I've been listening to it to and from work for the past couple weeks. So yes, it will get plenty of play before I swap it over to something else. All right, folks. Until the next review, take it easy.